Support for your public radio station comes from our members and from Two Point Capital Management, an investment firm creating custom portfolios of stocks and bonds for individuals and institutions. Two Point is dedicated to managing risk in good times and bad. Two Point Capital Management, life opens up.
From WXXI News, this is Connections. I'm Evan Dawson. Well, one of our connections this hour will be made tomorrow. It's Valentine's Day, and whether you celebrate or think it is just a Hallmark holiday, we thought it might be fun to talk about some films that are popular this time of year. Talking about rom-coms, romantic comedies can be cheesy or sentimental, maybe a bit of both. We're going to have some fun talking about them with one of our really, really smart culture writers. City Magazine pop culture critic Joe Lester is going to join us later this hour. Before that, we're going to talk about some of the top state and local stories of the week. We're going to be joined by WNYC's Jimmy Vielkind for a look at the race for New York State governor and some changes in that race recently. But first, WXXI's investigations and City Hall reporter Gino Finelli is here talking about a story that's really 3 years in the making. In early 2023, Rochester City Council purchased 15 self-contained heated and cooled units to be placed in Peace Village, the city's only sanctioned homeless encampment. But now, 3 years on, Peace Village is still vacant. Those shelters now sit in snow-covered storage at a city lot on Dewey Avenue. Gino, thanks for joining us. We were just talking about, think about all the bad winters. This is one of the worst winters, and if you're in the homeless population, I can't even imagine what this has been like.
Yeah, January was the second coldest month in Rochester in the past decade, past January. We talked to a homeless advocate that I've worked with for quite a while, and people are losing toes, losing fingers, and this option of having these heated and cooled shelters that were supposed to be there years ago, still offline, nowhere to go.
So lay out some of the history here. How did the city come to purchase these shelters, and where is it now?
Okay, so you have to go back to autumn of 2022. There's a homeless encampment on Loomis Street off Joseph Avenue. Fairly large. Most people living there are in active addiction. It's pretty squalid conditions. Myself and my photographer, Max Schulte, spent a lot of time there talking with folks and whatnot about what happened. The city moved to clear it. They clear out the encampment, go through, remove everything, and most of the people there scattered off in different directions. Some were offered shelter placement, but a lot of them ended up at Peace Village, which Peace Village at the time is kind of a shanty village, mainly like Home Depot sheds. Half of them are kind of in really bad condition. Some are burned down. And that's where they ended up. And Peace Village was in really bad shape. It was infested with rats.
Needles, trash.
Needles everywhere. And it's not a place where you'd want anyone to live, but when you're someone who can't really get into the traditional shelter system, it's a place to go. Council President Miguel Melendez had made the move to purchase the pallet shelters. That money was pulled from leftover funds for the Police Accountability Board in early 2023. The city actually received the shelters in April of 2023, and since then, it's a long history of problems to nonprofits that oversee it, to having an operation. Now the issue is mainly the operational plan for running Peace Village, but the end result is these things are sitting under snow. They haven't been placed there, and Peace Village itself is ready to go. It's got the electricity and the plumbing already done, just nothing there. It's fenced off. No one can stay there.
So, Gino, we're looking, if you're on our YouTube page, we're looking at some of Max Schulte's photographs here. Tell us what we're looking at here and describe it for those who can't see it.
Yeah, so two of these buildings are already constructed. We're trying to figure out what exactly they are because there's a couple different kinds of units. There's bathrooms or the community center, but those larger ones are already constructed. And you see all these like slates of walls. Those are the prefab units. So you bring them to the site, you click them together, you plug them into your infrastructure, and there you go. You're good to go. This is the Northwest Neighborhood Service Center on Dewey Avenue. They're in a back lot there. They've been there. It'll be 3 years in April, and they've just been sitting there under snow.
Nobody in them. Nobody using them.
Nobody using them. No, not constructed. Still kind of bound together. And it's pretty striking because this was a pretty unique solution. The company that produces these pallet, they're out of Everett, Washington. It's a pretty unique thing that a few cities around the country have adopted to address some of their homelessness issues. And these are really for people that can't fit into the traditional shelter system. And here in Rochester, good intentions, a few notes on the execution, I guess.
Well, I mean, so you did talk to Miguel Melendez, who, of course, helped lead the effort. He told you that everyone involved is frustrated.
Yeah.
But he said the big hang up at this point is making sure that we have discussions around the funding. So so what does that mean exactly, and who is going to pay for this going forward?
Okay, this is where it gets really fun. So the nonprofit that was tapped to oversee this project, who was already involved in Peace Village before, they had already had city contracts, is Person-Centered Housing Options. PCHO was awarded a contract with the city last year to come up with an operational plan for running Peace Village. That's when the things are already set up. They have to have some kind of operational plan to have security at the site, cameras, food delivery, and all kinds of different things for keeping this place clean, safe, and secure. And that operational plan has been kind of in limbo for quite a while because there's a couple issues there, but I think the main one is it's a lot of money. I think it's a lot of more money than people ever expected it to be. It's going to be over $1 million a year to operate the site in the way the city has proposed in their RFP, which I had told the council president last week, and he didn't know the number was that high. And the city has this number. It's supposed to be submitted to council in coming months, but the other issue there is, where is the funding going to come from year over year? How will this be self-sustaining to have over $1 million to support a homeless encampment? Nobody seems to know an answer to that either. So if we wanted to go back into the longer history of the nonprofit issues there's a whole other can of worms that happened here before PCHO was tapped as a contractor. But right now, that's where it stands. They're the ones tasked with coming up with an operational plan. They have to meet the city's requirements for the operational plan. It's going to be very expensive to operate, and no clear outline of how that's actually going to be funded.
How many people could stay in this version of Peace Village?
There's 15 units.
15 total units.
15 total units. Some of them, there's a bathroom included there in like a community building. So around a dozen, you could estimate, are going to be staying there at any given time. And you have to think of that. It's like $100K a year to support one person staying at the site under the current operational plan's proposal.
So this is where someone's going to say, well, what's stopping someone who's not in city government from just coming in and doing this themselves, building this themselves, putting this thing forward and saying, we're not going to wait for the city. It's too expensive. They're not going to get this off the ground. We're just going to do it.
Okay, that's really kind of people to do. Go there, build them, plug them in, do that for free. Are you going to pay for the RG&E? Are you going to take over the insurance for the site? Are you going to pay for all the operational structure that the city mandated, which I think is another issue to talk about entirely, what they were mandating for that site. But are you going to do that as a volunteer? Probably not. So we're stuck at the same spot we're in. You can go build them all you want. That's not going to change the issue that we have here.
Okay. Well, yes, fair enough here. I mean, certainly in the coming months with PCO presenting its plan to City Council, everyone's going to have to decide on what they think they can afford. But if $1 million a year sounded like a lot to President Melendez, what did they think it was going to be? $250,000, $500,000? I mean, like, what do they think they can afford here?
I don't think there was any idea. Like, and I'm going to be honest with how I viewed the story as I've been working on it, is that I don't think there was any long-term plan. I think there was a good idea with good intentions behind it. And then once it got into the wheels of government bureaucracy, and then the minutia of how nonprofits operate overseeing little sites like this, the wheels fall off. And this is a situation where the wheels fell off.
So this is where libertarians will call me and say, see, this is what makes us libertarian. Because what they would probably say is, all right, Gino, look, they have these units. You've taken the pictures. We know they're there. They haven't been set up. They're not running. We're in the midst of, you said, the second coldest month in a decade?
Yeah.
January was brutal.
It was very cold, yeah.
You talked to people who told you that people in the homeless community are losing fingers and toes.
Yeah.
It's been awful. And we've got these units and they're not even being used, and no one can figure out exactly what they can afford. Libertarians are going to come in and say, look, just say we've got the units, but we're not going to be able to insure this. There's a limit to what we can do, and you're going to have to incur your own risk, but we'll set it up and we'll pay for the utilities. No? There's probably too much red tape.
There's a lot of red tape. Yeah. I mean, that's not going to happen. And, I mean, it's a classic Rochester tale. This whole thing is, it's government and nonprofits trying to do a good thing. And then it gets into this web of problems that just snowball, and they turn into, a larger and larger issue, and the actual work that is supposed to be done never gets done, and the people that are supposed to be helped by it are never helped by it. And we have to remember, like, we're talking about this as, no one wants people living in a homeless encampment, but we're doing two things right now. One, well, let's say three things. One, we're not doing anything to help the people that are actually living in homeless encampments. The city comes in and clears them out every once in a while, pushes them into abandoned houses or into shelter, or into the subway system. They offer them shelter, but a lot of people are not able to go into shelters. Two, we don't have any low barrier shelters in the city. The last one closed last year. So if you are someone who's sanctioned or has an active drug addiction or is an alcoholic, and you want to get into a shelter placement and not freeze to death, that ain't going to happen because there's no choice. You can't go anywhere. And, the third point is when we even try to do anything to make it more stable, we get bogged down in stuff like this and nothing ever changes. So we end up in this situation where the resources that we need to actually support the homeless population in this city are just woefully ill-equipped to do so. The number goes up every year in the PIC count. The cost of living goes up every year. And we do nothing to change that. We do nothing to address the housing crisis that we're having in this city in a real meaningful way for people that are living in abject poverty. And what happens? People freeze to death. People die. And we have to just look at that as what? A cost of doing business? I think that's the sad reality that we've come to, where everything comes down to dollar and cents and following the protocol of government procedures that the government sets up themselves. And what we end up with is something like we bought a bunch of homeless shelters for the homeless, and now they're sitting in a vacant lot for 3 years.
Lastly, before we let you go, there have been questions, and I've heard about some of this from people like Anna Valeria, others in the community that serves the homeless population, about federal homeless funding, distinctions, federal issues. What's going on there?
Well, yeah. So over the summer, called a NOFO, or the Continuum of Care, the Trump administration had tried to pull funding from a good amount of services that were for putting people that were experiencing homelessness into permanent housing. Their basis for doing it was essentially they were targeting organizations that recognize gender identity or racial issues in the way they're offering their funding, or they were in jurisdictions where they don't feel the police were doing enough to target vagrancy or street homelessness, which the simple reality is that this administration has taken an effort to criminalize street homelessness even more so. So that has an injunction.
This administration is in the Trump administration.
The Trump administration,
not the local
yes.
administration.
Well, arguably, but this is a kind of situation where there's an injunction that's been placed kind of blocking that effort, but that's not going to go away. We have 3 more years of this administration. I'm sure the courts will clear up something to allow them to do the kind of thing that they're planning on doing. So the point being there is the funding for homeless services overall is in jeopardy right now, and what services we're going to even be able to provide, which, again, are not enough right now. Whether or not those are even going to last is, we don't know. So when you put it into that kind of perspective, and the council president did release his report on homelessness, which is a very thorough document that is worth reading about.
Yeah, we're going to talk about it soon. Yep.
Yeah, some of the issues that we're facing here, but that's a big one. Like, we have a lot of economic uncertainty around this administration and the way it's targeting local municipalities and how they enforce things like street homelessness, and that's just one example. But that is a factor that's come into play. How much is going to come into play in the future is like something we haven't figured out yet. It's somewhere in the neighborhood of a few hundred people that are at risk of losing housing as a result of that funding change, if that happens. So that's not good. And we have, I think it's very unclear what it's going to look like going forward.
Bottom line with Peace Village, winter's not over yet. And those things are not going to be used this winter, are they?
Nope. Not going to happen.
Not going to happen. Thank you, Gino Finelli.
Thank you.
All right, short break. We're going to welcome our colleague Jimmy Vielkind, talk about the governor's race and some changes there next. I'm Evan Dawson. On Monday, we bring you special national programming. In the first hour, it's Building Tomorrow, a 1-hour special exploring how American homes are being reimagined for the next century. Then, uncovering the story of the only successful coup d'etat ever to happen on American soil, the Wilmington Massacre in 1898, a horrible story. Might be new to you. We'll talk to you Monday.
Support for your public radio station comes from our members and from Bob Johnson Auto Group, believing an informed public makes for a stronger community. Proud supporter of Connections with Evan Dawson, focused on the news, issues, and trends that shape the lives of listeners in the Rochester and Finger Lakes regions. BobJohnsonAutoGroup.com.
This is Connections. I'm Evan Dawson. Governor Kathy Hochul has won the designation of the Democratic Party as she seeks re-election. That's not a surprise. Perhaps the surprise was that her lieutenant governor, who was challenging her from her left, did not get enough support to even stay in the race. And for some progressives who want the governor to move further left, that might be a disappointment. But there were some surprise endorsements. People like Zoran Mamdani, others, we're going to talk about that. And meanwhile, the Republicans have nominated Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman, and he is going to make the case for a Republican change of leadership here. Covering all of this is reporter for WNYC and our colleague Jimmy Vielkind, who is back with us. Hello, Jimmy. Nice to have you.
Hi, Evan. Pleasure to be back.
All right. So Governor Kathy Hochul's running mate is New York City Council Speaker Adrienne Adams. And I'm looking at, this palace intrigue of her lieutenant governor trying to take her down. He fails. Some of her people are sort of taunting him in social media. It's been a kind of a wild week in that regard. Unusual in that way, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been a little while. It's kind of funny, Evan. If you stopped a New Yorker on the side of the street and asked them who the lieutenant governor was, I guess 9 times out of 10 they wouldn't know. And we're talking a lot about all the drama, all the intrigue here, about these selections and what the running mates mean. And my guess is that, again, we're not going to talk about this much more in a couple of weeks. But as you said, Adrienne Adams, a moderate like Governor Hochul, was selected as her running mate for the ticket. This came after Governor Hochul tried to recruit several other political figures. She wanted to find a person of color from downstate New York. She is, of course, a white woman from Buffalo, from upstate New York. And so there was sort of a notion of racial and geographic balance being added to the ticket. But at the end of the day, she chose someone who wasn't necessarily more in the progressive field and someone who didn't really make much of a splash or many waves. So Adrienne Adams comes from Southeast Queens. This is a vote-rich part of the state filled with sort of middle-class African Americans mostly. Adams ran the city council and did so in a way that Hochul said impressed her, where she balanced the competing interests, needs, and desires of all kinds of different people across the political spectrum. But really, what I heard from people as I talked about this selection was that it was just sort of safe and blah. It didn't really have a big oomph. It didn't have a big jolt. It's not like John McCain picking Sarah Palin as his running mate, where everyone said, whoa, and eyebrows kind of raised up. And so with that done, we're seeing really that Hochul is trying to carve out a lane of experience, of moderation, of sort of stay the coursedness, if I can make up an adjective here live on the air, and also to try and unite Democrats around this idea that whatever their internal squabbles are, they are dealing with Donald Trump, and that should be the overarching unifying force to bring them through 2026.
Yes, and I think we've got sound from both of the contenders who are going to be on the ballot. So let's start with Governor Hochul running on her record, but also referencing, as Jimmy says, President Trump. Let's listen.
We still have tough battles ahead, and I will say this, that arena has changed. The hits are harder. The cost of losing is greater, and we know what this moment demands of us.
So I think, Jimmy, she has, from my, perspective, talking to people in Democratic Party politics, she's sort of a tepidly popular governor. She's viewed as a centrist. Progressive activists don't love her. But I think she's betting right now that the national flavor is so toxic for Republicans that that's sort of her path to re-election here, starting with that. Yes?
That's exactly right. I mean, her whole policy agenda this year is sort of no sudden moves, make no enemies, just kind of get through agenda. You know, she's pushing for child care subsidies. Everybody likes child care subsidies, both across the political spectrum. Gone are the fights she previously picked with legislators in her own party over criminal justice laws. That is absent from her agenda this year. Uh, you know, Evan, I think politics is tidal. One thing I've learned over time is that politics is tidal. And we know historically the tide in the political body goes against the party that's in power in Washington, which means that in this cycle, there's every historical indication that it's going to go for the Democrats. And then when you look at polling, when you look at what voters think about Donald Trump, what they think about Donald Trump's policies, what they think about immigration policies, you see that the policies are unpopular. So in a state where Democrats already have a structural advantage in the fact that they have large advantages in enrollment, where they control all the levers of power, so they have the advantages of incumbency. There's lots of reason to think that on top of those advantages, the tide is pulling in their direction. And so Hochul just needs to kind of surf that tide, surf along. And as you said, her poll numbers are rising. I think that her favorability is up almost to 50%, which for her is a record.
Now, Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman, who we hope to have on this program soon, is someone who, he's a county executive of a big county. He's won elections. He has an interesting record that I think we'll talk on future programs about, sort of on social issues. And this is someone who is making a pretty direct case that whatever the structural disadvantage he has as a Republican in a quote-unquote blue state, he's saying that no state should be just governed by one party. There should be more balance, and there's plenty wrong that he says it's time for a change at the top and to go back to a Republican. Let's listen to what Blakeman has been saying about that.
We can make New York affordable again, and we can make it safe again. But it won't happen on its own. It will take leadership that puts New Yorkers first.
So that's Bruce Blakeman. He's going to be new to a lot of people in our area, Jimmy. And I've talked to some elected Democrats who privately have told me this. They've said that they thought Elise Stefanik would have been kind of a caricature of a candidate. And they think Blakeman is pretty serious, that this is a county executive. He knows how to run a race that tries to appeal to centrists. Not that they think he will win, but this is not a sort of a joke candidate, that this is going to be a real race. What do you think?
That's really interesting. In Republican circles, there's a general acknowledgement that Blakeman is something of a silver medal. New York Republican leaders across the state were very, very, very excited about Stefanik running as the top of their ticket. They saw that she has a proven national network. Now, she's gained national attention for some of her oversight work, for her work in terms of interrogating college presidents before houses of Congress. And with that has come quite a bit of money. And money is very important in politics, especially, again, given the structural advantages that Democrats have. And this idea that major donors are going to be less likely to give if they think you're going to lose, if they think you're an also-ran. So many Republicans that I've been talking to saw Stefanik as a much stronger candidate, even though, as you said, Evan, it's almost impossible for her to extricate herself from her really, really, really tight and unwavering support for President Donald Trump in most of his activities in both his first and his second term. So Blakeman, at the same time, has to contend with that similar line of attack. President Trump endorsed Blakeman, called him MAGA all the way. Blakeman has repeatedly said that President Trump is a friend, that they talk and they communicate regularly. And so, I expect in this race, we're going to be hearing Democrats talk a lot about President Trump and less about Bruce Blakeman. Because as you said, many people in Monroe County or in Western New York, they don't know much about Bruce Blakeman. So if they have an unfavorable impression of Donald Trump, as polls show a majority of New Yorkers do, why not just run against that?
Yeah, I certainly understand that. And it is interesting that Republicans wanted Stefanik. Democrats might have thought they had a better chance against Stefanik just because of how much she actually has a national profile. She has a name recognition. It's tied directly to Trump. Blakeman will try to carve out his own space. We'll see if it will work. But before we get back to the palace intrigue, one other question about that whole thing. Look, Jimmy, I don't cover state politics as closely day to day as you. So probably a few months ago, I thought Stefanik was the way things were coalescing for her, with the party chair supporting her, with her national profile. I thought she was going to be the candidate. And then all of a sudden, bang, one morning you wake up and she's dropping out. The idea in the Trump story has always been that if you are loyal to him, no matter what you do, look at Howard Lutnick, look at all the stories that are happening nationally, Pam Bondi. If you're loyal to Trump, you can do a lot wrong and he will back you. And I thought Elise Stefanik is loyal to Trump. So who engineered her dropping? Like, what is the real story here? What happened?
You know, the real story is, I think, a combination of things. First, Stefanik is no dummy. She is quite astute politically, and all the things that I just described about how the indicia are that the tide is going to be pulling to the left, it's going to be pulling for Democrats. She was just as aware of that as anybody else, if not more aware, because her people had detailed polling information, detailed voter sentiment data that they looked at, and they realized this is going to be a very, very tough environment, and everything is going to have to go correctly. On top of that, you had Blakeman, who won a sound re-election this last autumn. Now we're in 2026, but in the fall of 2025, won a sound victory for a second term. And he put himself in the mix to be a primary challenger. So I think Stefanik was sort of put off by that. She was put off by the notion that she would have to spend time and attention dealing with a primary rival rather than spending those 6 months that a primary would take focusing exclusively on Kathy Hochul and trying to keep the Republicans united against the Democrats. So I think that was part of it. And her stated reasoning was that she has a young child. She is, I think, 41 years old. Her child is, I believe, either 4 or 5. And so the idea of not spending time with your kids is something I've got 2 daughters. I understand that. So I think a combination of all 3 of those factors really kind of got her to a place of like, why do this right now? Why not wait? Because the benefit of her relative youth in politics is that she will have another shot here. Blakeman is, I believe, around 70 years old. This is his last shot to do this kind of a thing. And when President Trump refused to step in, refused to endorse Stefanik over Blakeman, sort of refused to settle this fight before it started, I think Stefanik also saw that as something of a personal slight. And, in these past few months, she's had a much lower profile, both in New York politics and national politics, as she winds down her time in Congress.
All right, so let's wrap our time with Jimmy talking about where we started here. The reason I think the story of Lieutenant Governor Antonio Delgado not even making it to a primary, the reason I think this matters is there's been this build up to this race where the question has been, can the governor unite the political left in the Democratic Party? Can the more sort of tried and true progressives, the further left of the party, can they kind of stomach another Hochul campaign, even if they don't love her, if they think she's too centrist? And I thought, well, WFP will probably be with Delgado. Probably Mamdani's ideas about governing are going to be closer to Delgado than Hochul. Well, Mamdani comes out on the eve of this thing and he endorses Kathy Hochul, not Delgado. And WFP can't get on board. And Jimmy, you spoke to Delgado a week before he ended his campaign, and you also talked to Jasmine Gripper, who I think we're going to have sound with. Tell us about this, Jimmy.
So Jasmine Gripper is the co-director of the Working Families Party, and she's exactly the kind of person who Delgado had cast his campaign as trying to appeal to.
Yeah.
You said, Evan, that he's running to the left flank of Governor Hochul. He is courting a lot of the progressive groups that form the Working Families Party, groups like Citizen Action, groups like Make the Road, that they were really in line and in sync with Delgado's campaign. And Delgado, when I spoke with him, when of course he was insisting he was going to take it to the people and circulate petitions no matter what happened. That's what they all say until they don't do it. It was really insisting that he had already moved Governor Hochul. He pointed to Governor Hochul's new proposals on protecting immigrants as things that Delgado says would not have happened had he not been out there pushing her to the left. He pointed to her child care funding as something that he says he pushed, though I'm a little skeptical of that because Hochul has been steadily increasing child care funding over time. And so Jasmine Gripper, in explaining why Delgado didn't take off either with her party or with progressives across the state, pointed to this fact that, maybe she choked off his avenues of support. Let's take a listen.
So I think it's an acknowledgement of the terrain has shifted. He did succeed in moving the governor further, closer to the left.
So again, a preponderance of all of those different policies, all of those different shifts. And at the end of the day, Hochul was very astute at choking off potential support for Delgado and courting his potential allies. So when Delgado looked at a situation where Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez had endorsed Hochul, where the Working Families Party was staying neutral to try and see what's happening, where Mayor Zohran Mamdani was endorsing Hochul, although we'll have to see how vigorously and how that translates to his supporters. As Delgado said, he just didn't see a viable path forward. And frankly, neither do I.
So let's wrap with this. I just want to get your take on the Mamdani and AOC things, because, if you just look at governing records, there's no way that Ocasio-Cortez and Zohran Mamdani are, sort of fellow travelers. They would probably say that Kathy Hochul is more of a kind of a corporate centrist. Mamdani is much to her left. Ocasio-Cortez the same. To me, this says that despite their ideology, they understand sort of political alliance and taking advantage of a moment, not hitching your wagon to a weak candidate who's not going to win. They seem to be making a pragmatic move here. Is that a fair description of it?
That's absolutely correct. I mean, and Gripper was very clear about this when we spoke both before and after the WFP endorsement. She said the goal of the party is to actually realize positive changes for working people, what they see as their constituents. And so do you have better luck doing that by picking a candidate who is perhaps perfect and completely in sync with your philosophy, but has a lower likelihood of victory? Or do you do it by pushing someone who has a high likelihood of victory, getting on board, pushing them and getting them to adopt parts of your platform, even though not all of your platform, to actually get them enacted? And I think given the choices between the candidates, given the situation in New York, it was clear to a lot of people on the political left that pushing Kathy Hochul and getting her to move was much better than trying with likely not success, or with a low likelihood of success, than backing a challenger to take her out. And I think that's why we saw this happen and play out the way it did.
It's going to be an interesting year. Jimmy Vielkind, thanks for making the time. I look forward to more conversations with you soon.
Thanks, Evan. Always a pleasure to be with you. Jimmy
Vielkind, listeners, is one of the absolute best, and I hope people recognize what a treasure we have here. We're going to take a short break and close the week on a lighter note. I don't know how you feel about Valentine's Day, but we're going to have a little fun here, and you can take a quiz with us next.
Support for your public radio station comes from our members and from Bob Johnson Auto Group, believing an informed public makes for a stronger community. Proud supporter of Connections with Evan Dawson, focused on the news, issues, and trends that shape the lives of listeners in the Rochester and Finger Lakes regions. BobJohnsonAutoGroup.com.
Would you pay an annual fee to see your doctor if it got you better treatment?
Previously, it would be 10 minutes, maybe in and out kind of a thing. Now she has more time to spend with me.
I'm Kristen Schwab. Why patients are turning to subscriptions for their healthcare and who the model leaves behind. That's next time on Marketplace.
Tonight at 6:30.
This is Connections. I'm Evan Dawson. The City magazine February issue is about sex and love, and Americans right now are having a lot less sex and struggling to find love. But if you can laugh at that or have fun with that, maybe you want to go to the movies. And do you love a rom-com? Are you a rom-com type person? Johanna Lester is a rom-com fan and one of the great arts and culture writers we have in our city. Wrote a great piece for City, and it's great to have you back here.
I love being here. Thank you so much.
A rom-com fan since when? Go back.
Man, I'm so old. I just feel like I've been watching them my entire life, like early 80s. But I also grew up on like old rom-coms, like, Doris Day, Rock Hudson, His Girl Friday with Cary Grant, Rosalind Russell. Like, my mom was always, we were always renting stuff from Blockbuster, which was a video store for those of you who may not know. But yeah, it's in my blood. It's in my DNA.
Do you have was there a first? You remember? Are you like a Princess Bride or someone like that?
So in my piece, I write a little bit about, I think I was 7 or 8 when The Princess Bride came out and I first saw it. And I think that imprinted on me immediately because it's so funny, but it is, it's disguised as sort of an adventure tale. So, they kind of sneak the rom-comminess in there a little bit.
Well, I love the way that you structured your piece here.
Thank you.
Writing a piece with the idea that if you like this, then try this. And you're going to take us all the way back to the 1940s with these recommendations. We're going to get to that coming up here. But first, we've got a quiz.
Oh, man.
And I have to play it, too. I did not create this quiz. Producer Megan Mack created the quiz.
Megan Mack.
Have you seen the quiz?
I have not, no.
So this is not
in
rigged
cold.
in your... Yeah.
Not even a little
I'm
bit.
at a big disadvantage because you see more movies and you're smarter than me and you're a better pop
Only
culture
one of those
writer.
things is true.
So let's go. How are we going to do this quiz? So there's 6 clips we're going to listen to.
Oh, my God.
I can't hear that. We're going to listen to clips, I think. And we're
Yes, we're going to listen to 6 clips.
6 clips.
And you're going to guess the movie.
And
so
we're
I'll
going
play
to guess
the clip,
the movie.
and then we'll guess the movie.
So let's listen to the first
terrified.
clip, and then we're going to have to guess the movie here. All right.
I love that you get cold when it's 71 degrees out. I love that it takes you an hour and a half to order a sandwich. I love that you get a little crinkle above your nose when you're looking at me like I'm nuts. I love that after I spend a day with you, I can still smell your perfume on my clothes. And I love that you are the last person I want to talk to before I go to sleep at night. And it's not because I'm lonely, and it's not because it's New Year's Eve. I came here tonight because when you realize you want to spend the rest of your life with somebody, you want the rest of your life to start as soon as possible.
Okay, now, Joe and I are both writing it down to prove if we got it right or
man.
wrong. I'm just going to say this. If you didn't get that one, then you hate movies in general.
Yeah, like, why don't you love happiness? Why don't you love joy?
When Harry Met
Oh,
Sally.
man, the best. The all-time best, honestly.
Are you good with the ending?
Yes. I think that movie is perfect from
Should
top
they
to
have
bottom.
ended up together?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Would it have been an interesting lesson if they had developed a deep friendship and gotten to know each other and realized they weren't meant to be together and that was okay?
Yeah, I think that's fine, but that's not that movie. That's not what that movie's setting out to prove. That movie, is perfect from the jump because it disproves its own theory, right? So, like, at the beginning, Harry is, men and women can't be friends. But at the end, he just has this total change of perspective in person because he meets Meg Ryan.
I can't believe how good Billy Crystal is as, like,
Yes.
a romantic and sexy lead.
What a babe. They're all babes. Everyone
How
in this
about
movie
that?
is a babe.
Right?
Bruno Kirby, Carrie Fisher.
No. Bruno Kirby was never a babe. Come
They're
on.
all babes in this movie. Sorry, I hate to tell you.
I'm going to fight you on that one.
you will lose.
No way.
Just perfect. They're
Okay.
perfect.
Now, the premise, though, that you talked about, Billy Crystal's character saying, straight men and women cannot be friends because sex is always going to be on their
gets
minds.
in the way.
True or false?
Ooh, tricky question.
I
That's
think
not on
it's
the
false.
quiz. I don't like it.
I think it's false.
I think it's more complicated than that. I don't think it's a true or false. I think it's got a little asterisk near it always. I'm not.
And that's what makes the movie so interesting,
That's
right?
what makes the movie so interesting.
That's so good.
Absolutely.
All right, number 2. So we're tied.
Before we move on, I have to out you a little, Evan, because you hadn't seen that movie until last year.
That's not true. I had not seen it.
You had not seen it at all, you told
No,
me.
This is distressing.
I had seen parts of it, but I hadn't watched it cohesively straight through, so I did.
Did you love it?
Oh, it was absolutely better than I thought it was going to be, and I thought it was going to be great.
It holds up so well
It's so
to
good.
this day,
Yeah.
which is honestly a
Yes.
miracle.
Absolutely, yes. And if someone hasn't seen it, for me, it's like if you haven't seen When Harry Met Sally, if you haven't seen Defending Your Life, like my favorite movie,
God, so good.
like just go do that right now.
Just do it.
Like,
We
just
give
set
you
everything-
permission. You can leave work,
Drop everything.
drop everything, go home.
Do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, number 2 on the quiz list. Let's listen.
Don't cry, shop girl. Don't cry.
I wanted it to be you. I wanted it to be you so bad.
Okay, so I know it's one of 2 movies, and I've seen neither.
Oh, great. Go for it.
It's either You've Got Mail or Sleepless in Seattle. It's the Tom Hanks, Meg Ryan movies, and I think it's Sleepless in Seattle.
You are wrong.
Is it You've Got Mail?
Sure is, buddy.
Oh, no.
Yeah, man. Also a perfect movie.
So I haven't seen either.
You can leave. I'll finish this hour. Go
Is
home.
it that?
Go watch.
You've Got Mail is that good?
They're both good. Yeah. You've Got Mail is a complicated premise because I don't want to spoil it for you, but can I?
Yes. Please do.
He puts her out of business and they still fall in love at the end. So, I mean, is that what's more realistic? Like, is that.
To me, that's like the roots of like the modern Hallmark movie. It's like big out of town.
A little bit, yes.
Corporate guy comes in,
Yep.
bulldozes a small business and
Correct.
realizes he loves the attractive woman who runs it.
Yep.
And it melts his heart and he becomes Santa Claus.
As, written by Nora Ephron. So it's perfect. So
Okay.
it's just sublime.
Okay.
That is, that's one of my favorites.
So he becomes Santa Claus?
Yeah.
He does.
It's great.
So
It's
if
perfect.
I can only see Sleepless in Seattle or You've Got Mail, one or the other, what am I?
You can't pick.
Yes, you got to pick.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
You got to see
They're-
them both.
they're both
It's a
that
double
good?
feature. It's a perfect double feature. The Meg Ryan, Tom Hanks cinematic universe, and then you add like Joe versus the volcano on top of it, which is like a weird little one, but kind of keeps them all together.
All right. So now Joe's got a 2-1 lead. We've got 6. So now is number 3. Here we go.
I hate the way you talk to me and the way you cut your hair. I hate the way you drive my car. I hate it when you stare. I hate your big dumb combat boots and the way you read my mind. I hate you so much it makes me sick. It even makes me rhyme. I hate it. I hate the way you're always right. I hate it when you lie. I hate it when you make me laugh. Even worse when you make me cry. I hate it when you're not around and the fact that you didn't call. But mostly I hate the way I don't hate you. Not even close. Not even a little bit. Not even at all.
So I'm going to say I have no idea, but I'm going to guess the music. I'm going to guess the year.
Ooh.
We're playing Guess the Rom-Com with Joe Lester here. I'm going to say 1991.
Little early, a little bit later than that.
Later than that.
What is that? I think that's 99 maybe.
So it's got
98?
that music is
99.
90s. 99?
Yeah.
That music is very 90s at the end.
Yes.
I have no idea what that is. What is that?
10 Things I Hate About You.
10 Things I Hate About You.
Also great. Also wonderful. It's
Who's the actress? Who are we hearing there?
Julia Stiles, and the late great Heath Ledger is her partner in that movie, and that's a remake of something Shakespeare. I can't remember which one. Taming of the Shrew. But modernized. It takes place in high school, which is like the perfect setting for that play, honestly. It's perfect.
10 Things I Hate About
10
You is
Things
Taming of the Shrew.
I believe so. I think I'm right about that.
Is like say anything is like Richard. Say Anything is like Richard III. We're going to find out that Say Anything was actually no. Say Anything is a great movie,
Yes.
isn't it? By the way?
Oh yeah.
I don't even know if that's on this list.
It's not. It's not a rom-com.
Oh,
It's
what?
a romance.
Say-
I don't
Say
think it's
Anything
a
is not a
rom-com.
rom-com?
I wouldn't. I'm not sure I would qualify it as a rom-com. I would call it more a romance.
Romance drama?
Yeah, like a rom-dramedy maybe. We got to get nuanced. We're using rom-com way too broadly, in my opinion.
Oh, that's
nowadays.
an interesting take here.
Yes, I feel very strongly about it.
So Say Anything, not a rom-com.
Yeah, I'd say it's
Just-
more teen romance. more of
but
a
really good
romance.
movie.
Wonderful movie.
Yeah, really good.
Perfect.
Okay, good. Well, thank you for validating.
Absolutely.
John Mahoney, sneaky good in that one.
Oh, so good.
Frasier's dead.
Absolutely.
Okay. That's 3. I'm now 1 for 3. Joe's 3 for 3.
I'm
This
very
is number
nervous.
4. I'm in trouble. Let's go with number
nervous.
4.
I wish I knew how to quit you.
Then why don't you just let me be, huh? It's because of you, Jack, that I'm like this. Nothing. I'm nowhere. Oh.
Okay, before you say, do you know what this is?
I do.
Okay, I'm going to say that I think it's not a rom-com,
It's not a rom-com.
and I think it's Brokeback Mountain.
It is Brokeback Mountain.
So we got Brokeback Mountain, but Joe immediately said, "This is not a rom-com."
Truly not a no.
It was
like-
on some rom-com list that I looked at,
Oh
so
my gosh.
that's
Whoa.
my bad. Apologies.
It's not your bad.
This
It's
is-
whoever wrote that.
This is a
list's
rom
bad.
tragedy.
It is. It is absolutely. It's beautiful, heartbreaking. Oh, I saw that twice in theaters when it came out, and it was just devastating.
I mean, that came out. What was I like in college? I'm trying to remember.
No, we were older than that.
Were we?
Probably
Like early 00s?
or like I would say like 2004, 2005. ish,
some-
2006.
Someday we should. I am curious to know.
2005.
I am curious to know what effect that had on LGBTQ culture and filmmaking. I mean, that's a conversation for a separate day. But
Yeah.
but it's not a rom-com.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
A lot of sheep though. Good stuff.
Okay, 2 out of 4, 4 out of 4, 2 left in the rom-com quiz. Number 5.
Now, on the one hand, it is very difficult for a man to even speak to someone that looks like you. But on the other hand, should that be your problem?
So life's kind of hard all around.
Well, not if you pay attention. I mean, you're sending all the right signals. No earrings, heels under 2 inches, your hair is pulled back, you're wearing reading glasses with no book, drinking a Grey Goose martini, which means you had a hell of a week and a beer just wouldn't do it. And if that wasn't clear enough, there's always the off that you have stamped on your forehead. Because who's gonna believe that there's a man out there that could sit down beside a woman he doesn't know and genuinely be interested in who she is, what she does, without his own agenda?
All right, so I know I haven't seen this. That's Will Smith.
Oh.
And I'm going to guess it's Hatch.
You are very close. I think it's Hitch.
Oh, is it Hitch? Is it Hitch?
I
Seriously?
didn't know that though, so that was
It's
good.
not Hatch?
It's canon now.
Is it really Hitch?
Now it's Hitch. Now
But
it's
but
Hitch.
but that's I knew
That was good though. You
And
got
isn't
it.
Kevin James in this movie?
Yes. And Eva Mendes maybe?
Probably the reason I didn't see this is I don't really. I mean, no offense if you like Kevin James, I don't seek out his work. So I don't like hate it. It's just like
He's like,
there's a lot of movies out there. I don't know if I need to see a Kevin James movie.
I wouldn't call it a Kevin James movie. I'd call it a Will Smith
Will Smith movie.
Yeah.
Hitch, not Hatch. I was close. Hitch. Okay. All right.
I love it.
All right.
That was good though, because I couldn't identify that. So that was we were both.
I
wrong.
hadn't even
I
seen
think
it,
we
but I
both
knew
missed that.
roughly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good
Is it a good
though.
movie? Did you like it?
It's very charming. It
Charming.
definitely has its charms. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The heyday of Will Smith.
The
I
heyday,
think.
the
Yeah.
pre-Chris Rock slap.
Pre-slap.
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 All right, number 6, last one.
You know what's wrong with you, Miss Whoever you are? You're chicken. You've got no guts. You're afraid to stick out your chin and say, okay, life's a fact. People do fall in love. People do belong to each other. Because that's the only chance anybody's got for real happiness. You call yourself a free spirit, a wild thing. And you're terrified somebody's gonna stick you in a cage. Well, baby, you're already in that cage. You built it yourself. And it's not bounded on the west by Tulip, Texas, or on the east by Somaliland. It's wherever you go. Because no matter where you run, you just end up running into yourself.
Okay, I don't know this one, but I'm going to guess the genre or the era. It's got to be 50s or 60s
Yeah.
because it's in that time when everybody talked like this.
And
see?
very crackly.
Everyone, yeah. Listen here, you. I'm going to tell you what's what here.
That was great dialogue. I can't place
you don't
it
know the
either.
movie?
No, I feel like I've seen it or I've definitely seen that clip, but
Oh.
I can't place it in context.
Megan Mac.
So this one is probably not a rom-com either, but it's Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Oh my goodness, that's Breakfast at Tiffany's. Whose voice?
I've
are we hearing
definitely
there?
seen that.
Who is that?
George
George
Peppard.
George Peppard.
Yeah.
Okay. Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Yeah.
All right. Is that a rom com?
I don't.
This is a really expansive definitional list of rom com.
Yeah. I don't. It's comedic. I don't know if I'm going to call it.
Well,
rom-com.
Joe, you have won the
But-
quiz. 5 out of 6.
4 out of 6.
4 out of 6. And
Shameful
if you
showing.
give me Hatch instead of Hitch, I got like 3. Julie Williams saying, nope, we're not giving you that one. But Joe's the winner. Please check out Joe's work as a pop culture critic for City Magazine in the current issue. And before we go here, we got a little bit of time to talk about how you did this. So real quick here, if you like zippy screwball workplace romances, you said check out from 1940.
So great.
His Girl Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Make the case. Cary Grant,
Oh
Rosalind
my gosh,
Russell.
they both look beautiful, perfectly tailored suits, the best banter you've probably ever heard in your life. Just really zippy, snappy, crackly dialogue. So much chemistry on that screen between the two of them.
If you like modern adaptations of literary classics that don't feel like homework, Clueless, 1995.
Classic. Have you seen that one, Evan?
No.
Oh my gosh.
I know. I have
also
not.
a
I know.
perfect movie.
Julie Williams is looking at me like, like, what have you been doing with all this time? You know what? I've been watching bad movies. Apparently,
It's great.
I need to
It's
see
wonderful.
Clueless.
You do need to see Clueless.
I've seen The Burbs too many times. The worst ending of any movie ever. Okay, if you like a rom-com that works to expand the genre, how about Brokeback Mountain? No, that's not what you wrote. You wrote My Best Friend's Wedding.
Oh, so great. So great. Yeah, I mean, Julia Roberts as sort of the antagonist, the one who doesn't get the guy in the end. I feel like I'm formulating a theory when Julia Roberts has like big hair, she's in her prime. Like that's like her power, and her hair is so big and curly and beautiful in that movie. Underrated Cameron Diaz performance as you know, the ingenue, and everybody's great. Lots of hijinks, lots of again, really crackling dialogue. Really great movie.
And we talked about When Harry Met Sally, but you also said What If, a 2013 film.
What If is a tiny little delight. Daniel Radcliffe,
Harry Potter fame,
Harry Potter fame, kind of proving that he was not like a one-trick pony. Like he really does have the stuff. But it has in the When Harry Met Sally vein, it has incredible supporting performances from Adam Driver and Mackenzie Davis, who play like the best friends who kind of get together in this movie first, and it's just, they're super fun. It's a delight.
Expanding the genre, by the way, I like that you referenced Palm Springs. That is a recent movie that I like.
So great.
That I really liked.
I watched that. I watched
really
that movie
interesting, kind of
a lot.
trippy.
Yeah, I mean it's an updated-ish Groundhog Day a little bit. It's a time loop.
And Groundhog Day, that's a rom-com.
Totally.
That's a classic,
100%.
of course. And Defending Your Life is a rom-com.
I'd say so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I keep going back to that, but like that's what I always tell people, because that's a movie that a lot of people I meet have not seen.
It's so smart.
And I go like, you're going to love Meryl Streep and Albert Brooks in this.
100%.
It's so smart.
It's so smart.
It'll pull at your heart a little
It
bit.
will. Absolutely.
All right, if you only got one rom-com to watch tonight, what's it going to be?
I mean, it's always When Harry Met Sally.
Yeah.
Sorry. Even if you've seen it, watch it again. Never gets old.
You'll find something else in the dialogue.
You
The dialogue,
will.
like a near perfect script.
Nora Ephron.
Swingers, not a rom-com.
No, not a lot
Great
of
script, though.
rom in that movie.
Yeah,
It's
lot of-
light on the rom.
Tragic,
Yeah.
rom-trag.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Joe.
Thank you,
Really fun. Come back and do quizzes. Let's do more quizzes.
Anytime.
All quizzes here. And go see Hatch. Really good. From all of us at
Cue it up.
Connections. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We're back with you next week on member-supported public media.
This program is a production of WXXI Public Radio. The views expressed do not necessarily represent those of this station, its staff, management, or underwriters. The broadcast is meant for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or use in another medium without expressed written consent of WXXI is strictly prohibited. Connections with Evan Dawson is available as a podcast. Just click on the Connections link at WXXInews.org.